A powerful storm system will bring severe weather across the upper Midwest and the Central Plains through this weekend into early next week, along with above normal temperatures. And a fall cold front will bring below normal temperatures into late next week with a fall preview and your full tropical weather update with potentially a landfalling system near the United States as we get into later next week. Welcome back, everyone. Hope everybody's having a great Friday morning out there. Welcome back to Weather on the Go's weather forecast, where you get all your weather coverage. If you guys are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, definitely subscribe down below and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily important weather forecast updates. It's free to do, and you guys get all unlimited weather forecast updates here on this channel. So without further ado, let's get into the weather forecast here. We got a broad trough starting to dig in across the Pacific Northwest this afternoon. We also have kind of a broad ridge developing across the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic as well as we head into this afternoon. And right in between there, that's kind of the battleground for an active period of weather with some severe weather as we head into this afternoon as well across the middle of the country. That will continue through the weekend as we have an even stronger trough digging in across portions of California and the West Coast, with a positively tilted trough across those areas. That will lead to a stronger ridge development across the central and southern plains and much of the eastern United States as we get towards later this weekend on your Sunday, September 18th. And as we get in toward early next week, that continues with a stronger ridge developing again across the central and southern plains with that positively tilted trough across the West Coast. The active jet stream will be to the north here across these areas. So let's show you that here now. As we get into your Saturday here tomorrow, we'll have a stronger jet starting to move in across California, the Rocky Mountains here, with more zonal flow across most of the United States. But as we get in towards later on this weekend, towards Saturday night, and even really getting in toward the daytime hours on Sunday, we'll have a strong jet stream here rounding this ridge to the north, and this will send a couple of mid-level disturbances here with some energy across portions of the northern plains, the central plains, and upper Midwest as we head especially into Sunday. And this could lead to an active weather period with some severe weather as we get here through the weekend into early next week. So starting off here today, the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted a level 2 of 5, a slight risk for severe weather across west central portions of Nebraska and southwestern South Dakota here. This is for portions of the I-80 corridor into western Nebraska here. We could be talking about scattered damaging winds, scattered large hail out there, and the possibility of a tornado. So let's go through the hazards here. A 5 to 15% chance of severe weather with damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour across portions of western Nebraska, southwestern South Dakota. The same holds true for the large hail risk. Large hail up to 2 inches in diameter across that very same region. And we also do have an isolated tornado potential as well with a 2% shading there across western Nebraska, portions of far eastern Wyoming and southwestern South Dakota with a spin-up tornado or two possible with the initial thunderstorms that develop across those areas. So let's time out these showers and storms, shall we, across these areas. We have the morning hours will be quiet, maybe a couple of scattered showers and storms popping up across Wichita, Topeka, and then moving over there toward the Kansas City area here. These should be sub-severe. These should be kind of just heavy rain producers, and if they even develop at all. So we'll continue to watch that. As we move into the peak heating time frame of day, we got kind of some warmer air advection here, kind of a wing of precipitation weakening across the Missouri Valley and Iowa. But back to the west, across portions of the Front Range of the Rockies from Denver all the way up here into the Panhandle of Nebraska, we could be talking about supercell thunderstorms and multicells starting to pop up across these areas with some scattered damaging winds, some scattered large hail, and the possibility of a brief spin-up tornado or two across these areas, especially as you get into western Nebraska, far eastern Wyoming, and southwestern South Dakota later on this afternoon. As we get into the evening hours, say after 6, 7, 8 o'clock, we'll start to see more of a weakly organized line of thunderstorms develop here as it moves towards western and central Nebraska, getting all the way down here with some broken activity all the way down into northeastern Colorado. Some of these storms could be producing more damaging winds, especially if they do organize more into a line that become more damaging wind and outflow dominant for some damaging wind potential. The large hail potential will still be there, and maybe a brief weak tornado along the leading edge here of this line if we have some rotating storms still in there, and also, of course, some damaging or some heavy rainfall, and also some frequent lightning. So that will be something to watch as we head into the evening hours. And the reason why we're seeing severe weather, we have some pretty decent shear, some bulk shear values here. We're around 40, 50 knots across these areas. So definitely some storm organization is definitely possible later on today, and that continues as we head into your Saturday. A marginal risk of severe weather all across portions of the middle Missouri Valley, up into portions of southwestern, western Wisconsin, and southern portions of Minnesota there. This includes Rochester, Minnesota, Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, all the way down through the Kansas City region, with maybe some isolated to widely scattered strong to severe storms. And that continues a little bit farther to the east on Sunday, with actually another 2 of 5 showing up, a slight risk of severe weather across northwestern Illinois, southeastern Iowa, and extreme northeastern Missouri. This does include the Davenport Quad Cities, Ottumwa, Iowa, and getting up toward Rockford, Illinois. So that will be something to watch as we get into Sunday. Looking at the setup here for Saturday, we got dew points, boundary layer moisture rising into the middle 60s here. So you'll feel the humidity out there as we head into your Saturday afternoon. And this will fuel the severe thunderstorms, especially when you see CAPE values, convective available potential energy, rising to over 2,000 joules per kilogram, especially as you get down there toward the Kansas City area and Lincoln, Nebraska. So that will be something to watch as we head into Saturday afternoon. And again, this will fuel some showers and storms. So as we get towards later on Saturday afternoon, we could be talking about some isolated showers and storms popping up across the Green Bay area, Milwaukee, all the way down toward Dubuque, Iowa, and then Des Moines area as we head here into central Iowa later on Saturday, say 3, 4 o'clock. But as we get into the overnight hours, we'll start to see a stronger low-level jet start to move in across this area, especially across Iowa. And on the nose of the low-level jet, we could be talking about some organizing showers and storms, heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, and yes, maybe even the potential for some isolated to widely scattered severe storms with the damaging wind potential with gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Also the potential for some 2-inch hail at the most here with the strongest storms, and I can't even rule out a brief isolated tornado either. But as this moves to the east, so kind of mainly start to transition more to a heavy rain event as we head into the overnight hours, as it pushes across eastern Iowa, southwestern Wisconsin, and far northwestern Illinois as we head towards Sunday morning. But then as we carry over to Sunday, we'll have a little bit stronger of signal here for a little bit more rich environment for severe weather on Sunday, hence the slight risk potential here that the Storm Prediction Center has upgraded this area to on Sunday. Dew points will be in the low, maybe middle 70s, especially across Illinois here, northeastern Missouri, and southeastern Iowa. We'll also see this here in conjunction with a lot of energy out there. We have CAPE values, convective available potential energy, up around 3,000, even closer to 4,000 joules per kilogram, especially around the Davenport Quad Cities. And this will fuel the threat for some severe weather later on Sunday afternoon and evening across these areas. So as we get toward the middle to late afternoon on your Sunday, maybe a couple showers and storms continuing to fire up across central and eastern Iowa. But the main show does kind of fire up across portions of eastern Iowa with northwestern Illinois after the dinner time frame on Sunday here, according to the NAM model, with some scattered supercells possible across these areas like Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, all the way back into western Illinois. And then a complex of showers and storms with some very heavy and torrential rainfall, followed by damaging winds, large hail, and maybe just a couple of tornadoes as well possible along the leading edge of the storm complex as it dives to the east-southeast here on Sunday evening and overnight hours. And again, this could be producing some heavy rainfall here. The Weather Prediction Center's forecast here calls for about an inch to maybe up to an inch and a half potentially locally across portions of eastern Iowa, north central Illinois, and getting over there towards northwestern Indiana as well, with that complex of showers and storms as it moves through as we head through that Sunday time frame. So that will be something to watch. As we get towards the middle of next week, we're going to see a pattern change here with the below normal temperature starting to make an appearance, and it coincides with this start of fall equinox across much of the country here. Especially if you live in the Great Lakes, New England, and the upper Midwest. We'll have a strong cold front sweep on through as we head toward the middle and late portion of next week, and that will continue eastward as we head towards Friday, September 23rd, and definitely could be seeing much below normal temperatures across much of New England and portions of the Mid-Atlantic as we head towards late next week into next weekend. And the Climate Prediction Center's forecast does call for near normal to slightly below normal temperatures for that time period as we kind of end the month of September here and get beyond fall equinox. So that is something to watch. And also the active pattern will be kind of quieting down, I think, as well across the last few days of September, with a drier than normal pattern across much of the northern United States, the northwestern United States, and across parts of the south as well, including east central Texas. There will be some precipitation across the Four Corners region and across the East Coast here in association with some tropical weather, so we'll continue to watch that into next week. But looking at your temperatures here out the door as we head into your Wednesday next week, yeah, before this cold front moves through, we'll have a lot of 90s across the mid-south and the southeast. But you can see where that cold front resides, with temperatures in North Dakota there, northern Minnesota, back towards Montana in the upper 50s and lower 60s. But look at these overnight lows as we get into next Wednesday here to kind of start fall equinox, and kind of coincides with the start of fall. Better timing here. We got middle 30s potentially, lower 30s across portions of the lower elevations here as you get into portions of western Montana, western Wyoming, then some 40s up here into portions of the Dakotas and northern Minnesota. And then as we get into your Thursday, that cooler air starts to sink a little bit farther to the south. We got more middle 60s across the Twin Cities in Minnesota, northern Wisconsin there. We got upper 50s for highs and a lot of 50-degree temperature readings across the Dakotas back into eastern Montana again as we head into your Thursday, September 22nd. We'll start to cool off again across portions of New England and the Ohio Valley as well, with more 80s than 90s starting to show up across those areas. Now let's talk about the tropics, because it's very active out there. We got Tropical Storm Fiona spinning just to the east here of the Windward Islands right now, and we have another area of interest from the National Hurricane Center across the central Atlantic, which has a fairly low probability of development over the next few days, with a 20% chance there. But our focus is going to be on Fiona here in this update. We got this kind of organized kind of complex of showers and storms just to the east of the Windward Islands, and this is going to continue to press its way to the west northwest over the Greater Antilles and toward the Bahamas in the days in the week ahead. And looking at kind of the ensemble tracks to this, there's a lot of solutions, guys. This could go farther west toward the Gulf of Mexico and over Cuba. This could go a direct hit towards Florida. This could curl up toward the Carolinas, or just curl up across the western Atlantic and move away to sea. So there's a lot of open options here for the track of this. But if you take the average mean, if you see this black line here right in the middle of the spaghetti plot here, you can definitely see where the average mean is, where this takes it just through the Bahamas here, especially the eastern Bahamas, and then towards the Carolinas. So we'll continue to watch that in the days ahead to see if this does change a little bit. But a lot of options are there. And the official National Hurricane Center's forecast does remain at a tropical storm status all the way through Tuesday evening into early next week. We already have tropical storm warnings across the Windward Islands there. Even portions there of Puerto Rico, we have tropical storm watches across those areas, where we could have some tropical storm impacts in the next couple of days as we move into your Saturday and Sunday and even Monday timeframe toward the Dominican Republic and Haiti. I do expect here some tropical storm watches to be hoisted across those areas in the next couple of days. Looking at the overall intensity for Tropical Storm Fiona, again, remaining largely in tropical storm status at least through the next 48 hours. This may start to develop a little stronger potentially, according to some models, getting up to around Category 1, perhaps Category 2 strength, with some of the outliers there as we get in towards the next several days, toward the next 5, 6, 7 days into next week. So we'll continue to watch that. Looking at this here with the European forecast model, right now 1,006 millibar low pressure as it moves toward the Windward Islands there. As it crosses over Puerto Rico and into portions of the Dominican Republic as we get into late this weekend on your Sunday, September 18th, it looks to be a 1003 formidable tropical storm system here as we get across those areas. And then as it moves through the Greater Antilles toward the Bahamas there in the middle of next week on your Wednesday, September 21st, it could develop into a Category 1 hurricane. Is definitely a possibility with a 996 millibar low there as it gets closer towards Florida here ever so slightly into the middle of next week. And then the GFS is a little stronger and a 958 millibar low with even stronger impacts across the eastern Bahamas and farther east as well. The GEM, or the Canadian forecast model, is also pretty intense with this, with the 976 millibar low and a little farther west, closer to the Bahamas. So a lot of open options here. We'll continue to watch it as we get into early next week to kind of better define the track of that system. But it's also busy here in the Eastern Pacific as well. We got a tropical system there, 13E, across just to the south of the Mexico coast. We got a 90% chance of developing system there just to the west of the coast of Mexico there, getting up toward the Baja of California. So that will be another system worth watching. A lot of convection starting to organize. We got some taller thunderstorm tops just to the south of the Mexico coast here. You can see in the whites, pinks, and purples that are thunderstorm tops around 50, 60, 65,000 feet, and that will continue to press its way to the west and then northwest here in the coming days. Right now this afternoon, 1006 millibar here, kind of tropical depression as we head through the afternoon hours, strengthening probably to a tropical storm along the west coast of Mexico, or maybe just slightly to the west there of the coast as we get towards your Sunday time frame. According to the European forecast model, looking at the GFS, pretty similar with the track, a little bit, a little bit stronger with the system. And then a lot stronger with the system, potentially taking this to a Category 1 hurricane, according to the Canadian model, and just a little bit farther west as a 995 millibar low as we get towards Sunday. So a little bit of a difference in the track and intensity. The overall National Hurricane Center forecast has this as a tropical storm this afternoon and all the way through tomorrow, and then as it gets closer towards western Mexico and getting into early Sunday morning or late Saturday night, we have this kind of falling back to a tropical depression. But there are tropical storm watches across the southern coast there of Mexico, with tropical storm impacts possible there as we get through the next several days. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate all the new followers out there, all the new subscribers, and everybody who views these videos every single morning. Definitely appreciate you guys. Remember to like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. And guys, if you are new to the channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get all of my important weather forecasts updates, and more updates on the tropics and the severe weather in the upcoming next few videos. Thank you guys so much. Have a great Friday and a great weekend, and I'll see you all in the next video.